Have you ever pondered the difference between a boss and a leader? It's a question that stirs up quite a bit of discussion. While the terms boss and leader are often used interchangeably, they represent distinct approaches to managing and guiding a team. Each carries its own unique set of characteristics and implications. So, as we begin to peel back the layers of these roles, we're going to find that there's more than meets the eye. Now let's delve into the differences between a boss and a leader. The first difference lies in the basis of their power: authority versus influence. Picture a boss perched atop the organizational hierarchy, wielding power granted by their position. This boss commands and controls, expecting obedience purely based on their title. They can be directive, and their subordinates comply, not necessarily out of respect, but due to the formal authority that the boss holds. Now, let's shift our gaze to a leader. Unlike a boss, a leader doesn't rely on formal authority. They stand shoulder to shoulder with their team, guiding and motivating. The power of a leader lies in their influence and the respect they earn from their team. They don't command, they inspire. People follow a leader not because they have to, but because they want to. They respect the leader's vision, trust their judgment, and believe in their direction. While a boss commands, a leader inspires. Next, we look at their focus, tasks versus people. Now, when it comes to bosses, they often have their eyes set on tasks, deadlines, and objectives. They are task-oriented, which means they are primarily concerned with getting things done. They are focused on results, and while that might sound like a good thing, it can often come at the expense of their team's well-being and development. Let's contrast this with leaders. Leaders, in their management approach, place a strong emphasis on people. They prioritize the growth, development, and satisfaction of their team members. They understand that success comes from a motivated, skilled, and satisfied team. They are committed to building relationships, fostering a positive work environment, and ensuring that their team feels valued and appreciated. It's not just about getting the job done, it's about how the job is done and who is doing it. A leader, unlike a boss, prioritizes the growth and satisfaction of their team members. Our third difference is in their approach, giving orders versus providing guidance. Imagine a boss. They stand tall, barking orders with an expectation of immediate obedience. They provide instructions without room for questions or feedback. Essentially, a boss dictates. They command and control, using their position of power to ensure tasks are carried out exactly as they desire. Now, picture a leader. Instead of issuing orders, they provide guidance. They mentor and coach their team, fostering an environment of learning and growth. A leader encourages participation, inviting team members to ask questions, offer suggestions, and be involved in decision-making. They respect the expertise and insights of their team, and they use these to shape their guidance. In essence, a boss tells you what to do and how to do it, while a leader works with you to discover the best way forward. While a boss dictates, a leader mentors. The fourth difference is in their reaction to failure, blame versus accountability. When things go awry, the typical response from a boss is to assign blame. They may distance themselves from the failure, creating a divide between themselves and their team. The aftermath often involves criticism or punitive measures, which can lead to a culture of fear and finger-pointing. Now let's contrast this with a leader. Leaders don't shirk away from failure. Instead, they embrace it, taking collective responsibility for both the victories and the setbacks. They understand that a misstep is not an end, but a beginning, a chance to learn and improve. This fosters a culture of accountability, where every team member feels responsible for the collective outcome. The approach of a leader creates an environment where failure is not feared, but seen as a stepping stone towards success. It's about turning setbacks into comebacks. A leader, unlike a boss, uses setbacks as opportunities for learning. Next, we look at their perspective. Short-term versus long-term. It's a matter of focus. A boss, often driven by immediate results, concentrates on achieving short-term goals. They're all about the here and now, the tasks at hand, the quarterly outcomes. This approach, while not entirely without merit, can sometimes overlook the big picture, potentially sacrificing long-term growth for quick wins. On the flip side, we have leaders, the visionaries. They're the ones with their eyes on the horizon, constantly considering the bigger picture. Leaders understand that success is not a sprint, but a marathon. They guide their team towards not just immediate victories, but sustainable achievements. By doing so, they foster an environment of continuous improvement and long-term success. So, while bosses are busy putting out today's fires, leaders are strategizing, planning, and planting the seeds for tomorrow's triumphs. A leader, unlike a boss, guides their team towards sustainable success. Our seventh difference lies in their communication style. This is where the distinction between a boss and a leader becomes particularly noticeable. A boss's communication style tends to be one way, often coming across as instructions or directives. Feedback is provided, yes, but there's not much room for dialogue or discussion. The boss speaks, and the team listens. On the other side of the spectrum, we find the leader's approach to communication. Leaders encourage open and two-way communication, fostering an environment where every voice matters. They actively listen to their team, valuing their input and ideas. Leaders believe that everyone has something valuable to contribute and that collaboration is the key to success. They don't just talk at their team, they converse with them. This difference in communication style speaks volumes about the overall approach of bosses versus leaders. In essence, while a boss instructs, a leader listens and collaborates. Next, we look at their management style, control versus empowerment. A boss often leans towards micromanagement, preferring to keep a tight rein on all tasks and decisions. They might be found scrutinizing every detail, making all the choices, and leaving little room for their team to exercise their own judgment. This approach can stifle creativity and dampen the initiative, leading to a lack of motivation among team members. On the flip side, a leader fosters an environment of empowerment. They trust their team members, granting them the autonomy to make decisions and encouraging them to bring their own ideas to the table. Leaders understand that their team's unique perspectives and skills can drive innovation and contribute to the overall success of the project. They guide rather than dictate, allowing their team to grow and learn. A leader, unlike a boss, encourages innovation and autonomy. Our final difference is in their approach to loyalty, inspiring versus demanding. Let's dive right in. Bosses, in their quest to maintain control, often demand loyalty. They expect it as a given, a byproduct of their position of power. Yet, this kind of loyalty is often superficial, arising from fear or necessity rather than genuine respect or admiration. On the other hand, leaders inspire loyalty. They don't just demand it, they earn it. How? By demonstrating their commitment to their team's growth and well-being. By standing by their team in times of crisis, celebrating their successes and acknowledging their efforts. They foster an environment of trust, respect, and mutual support. In this environment, loyalty isn't demanded, it's inspired. It's a natural response to the leader's actions, values, and integrity. So, the key takeaway here, while a boss demands loyalty, a leader inspires it. Now, let's summarize what we've learned. The terms boss and leader may seem similar, but they convey different management styles. A boss uses their position of authority to command and control, focusing on tasks and deadlines and often giving orders that they expect to be followed without question. When things go awry, a boss may assign blame and distance themselves from the failure. They generally have a short-term perspective and tend to micromanage. Their communication is usually one way, with little room for dialogue, and their demand for loyalty is often based on their authority. On the other hand, a leader uses influence and respect to guide their team. They prioritize the growth and satisfaction of their team members and provide guidance, mentoring, and coaching. Leaders accept collective responsibility for both successes and failures. using setbacks as opportunities for learning. They maintain a long-term vision, considering the bigger picture, and empower their team members to make decisions. Leaders foster open, two-way communication, listening actively to their team and valuing their input. They inspire loyalty through their actions and commitment to the team's growth and well-being. So, while both roles involve managing a team, the approach and impact can be vastly different. The boss commands, often focusing on immediate goals and maintaining control, while the leader inspires, guides, and empowers, fostering a supportive and collaborative environment that promotes long-term success. It's clear that while a boss commands, a leader inspires, guides, and empowers.